Hello, we're back. I'm going to try something today which may be a complete disaster, but it's something I want to have a go at. The reason it might be a disaster is because when I come to sew the tags, it may get in the way, but I want to do it, so I'm going to try. So as you know, we have one set of pages here where we have nothing. These are the pages I'm going to work on. First, I'm going to work on this. So I'm going to take this tag out and move the rest aside. Actually, I'm going to leave that aside too, but in a different place. I have a couple of index cards here, 2 index cards. You could just as easily cut some cardstock, whatever. I'm using this because I have it. It's been laying around for quite a long time. I just want to use it up. And I was thinking about this particular image that I had. It's quite large. So I kind of want to use that, I think, on here. This is going to be a flip pocket if it works out. If it doesn't work out, it could just be in the bin. But what I'm going to do, just to straight start this off, is I'm going to use my proper glue. I'm going to glue this on here, and I'm not worried about keeping the holes. Oh, if I put my glasses on, I can actually see a little bit more. So I'm going to cut around part number 1. I never like the edge of that. I never like the finish, but it's easier than cutting. So that's our first piece. Now on this side I have some text, so I'm going to use my trimmer to just cut this square. I'm going to glue that in this top corner. Oh well, that's going to be upside down, but that's brilliant. That's fine. It's because I want it this way. Okay, let's see if I have a little image here. That's quite a small one. Quite like that. Just going to see if I've got any of the green left. Okay, so I found a piece of the green. I'm going to add these. Grab some little words and a label. Okay, I'm happy with that. And I'm going to work on this piece next. So I do want something text, and if I have got any more, I've actually got the right word for this one. So I'm going to go for that configuration. Just add this. Right, I'm quite happy with that. Like how that's looking. So it is going to go on here, and it's going to go as a kind of fold out pocket. I think I want it right against the edge. So what I'm going to do is, got a piece of my fabric. This came on a roll, for those of you that have asked, but it's a roll of just cotton fabric. It came from Yarn, for those of you that are interested. What I'm going to do is put this like so, Okay, I'm just going to decide whether I'm going to sew around this pocket or not. Whether I want to sew around here. I think I do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sew around these edges. So they look pretty cool. Pretty cool. I actually did not a bad job sewing those today for a change, actually. Quite pleased about that. Okay, now I've got my pockets together. Just to hold them in place, I'm going to put a little bit of glue down the edge. Like this. And kind of glue those. But what I'm now going to do, once that's dry, is I'm going to put a little zigzag stitch here and here over my straight stitching, just to kind of hold those in place once that glue is dry. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my fabric here. Now it's not going to have fabric this side, is it? Yes, it is. It is going to have fabric that side. I'm going to do it double-sided. So I'm going to grab another piece of fabric. That's an okay size. I'm going to just put a small bead of glue down here. I have no idea if this is going to work. I really have no idea. And I'm going to put this piece here, and then I'm going to put a little bead of glue down here, and I'm going to add this one lined up with the one the other side. Okay, all right, I'm really holding my breath that this is going to work. I'm just going to trim some of this fabric off. I don't want it all. Like that. Now I'm going to take this to my sewing machine. I'm going to do a zigzag here and here, and I'm going to sew this fabric in place onto my pocket. Okay, quite happy with that. Quite happy with that. Get rid of that random piece there. Double check. It goes on this piece here. It's going to go on this piece here. Now I'm going to just trim by eye that piece there, like so. I'm going to line that up where I want it to go with the edge of my tag. I'm going to put a little bead of glue here first and glue that first one down, and then I'm just going to put another little bead of glue, tiny, just to hold that second one in place for a moment. Now, because we haven't glued anything down as yet, okay, I'm going to sew just a little line here to sew this onto my tag. Ta-da! And of course I ran out of cotton. I was going to do a straight stitch down there as well, but I didn't. Oh, oh no, it's fine. It's fine. Is it fine? Yes, it's fine. Oh, oh my days. There we go. So we have a pocket. Oh, this project is gonna, honestly, it's gonna be the death of me. Now I've got this little picture here, and that goes in there quite well. I'm going to leave it in there for now, just so I don't lose that place. But there we've got a really nice little flip pocket. And because we didn't glue this or sew it yet, we were able to hide that stitching. So that will all be glued in there and hidden. So that was my first part of the plan. Obviously, I still have to sew around these, and that is going to be even more tricky. So that's not something we're going to be doing right now. So this tag goes up against this one. Okay, so here I want to add something else that kind of hangs out somewhere. So I'm going to have a quick look at the tags I have currently partially made, and we've got a bit of red here and we've got purple there, so I could go for this or I could go for this, and I think I'm going to go for that. which means I need to decorate the back of this tag. Do I? I want that to flip that way, and that's going to flip that way. But I want this hanging out of the bottom. Okay, I'm going to move those aside. Bring this in. It's not very straight, so I'm going to straighten this up. I'm going to use this piece because it's ready. Why not? Let's just trim this off. Now I know that probably has absolutely nothing to do with that whatsoever. I still think I'm going to add it. Right, try and stop thinking about it quite too much. I had a look for some of that last piece of text I had that tied it all in, and I can't find it, so I don't really know what I did with it. I'm sure it's about. It will turn up when I finish the project, I can guarantee that. Give this a trim. A teeny bit there. And this side, that's going up there. Let's look at the words. Needs an image for sure on here. Definitely needs an image. That's perfect. I'm doing it again, aren't I? Forgetting to talk. There we go. Right, now this one is going to go in upside down. So I'm going to grab this one. I'm not going to use the same edge because I actually want this to be slightly smaller. I think. Maybe this edge. So I'm going to cut those both the same. And because this is coming out of the bottom, not the top, it doesn't matter if it doesn't match the tags we have already. Oh, I'm in a mess again. I'm in a mess again. What's that one? That's the back. That's the back. This is the one that goes here. And that's going to hang out the bottom. Okay. I don't know that I want a double. I don't want it as fancy as this, the stitching. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, oh, which way? We want that way. Okay. So I'm going to put a bead of glue down there, like that. I want to trim the fabric here, so I'm going to put in a little notch and hopefully that will tear. Yeah, that's fine. Now I'm going to put a little bead of glue down here and I'm folding it, but I'm going to leave a hinge, enough for a hinge there, like that. Just force that down into a bit of a crease, and again with this open I want this hanging off the bottom, maybe over to the edge. So I'm just going to run a little bead of glue here. And this one I'm going to make it a lot simpler. I'm going to just cut up that crease. I'm going to do a straight stitch up and down. Yeah, a straight stitch here and a straight stitch there, just to hold that into place. Okay, the crafting deities are certainly not on my side today. First of all, the first line of stitching I did, the first line of stitching I had a horrible mess up on my sewing machine. So I had to redo that. And then I sewed the second piece, and of course I've actually I've sewn it to my tag. So I'm now going to take this apart, and I will be back to show you my rectification. I've taken this all apart, and of course it looks a big fat mess at the moment, but I promise you it will improve. So the first thing I'm going to do is, obviously this goes this way, I'm going to sew around this tag. Okay, that's now better. And I just want to point out that everyone can make really huge mistakes. So there's no shame in that. Now, I've got quite a mess going on down here. I want to be doubly sure I'm covering that up with my fabric. So I'm going to double check, remove some of this paper. I'm going to put a good bead of glue over that messy, holy part of my tag and put that fabric back down. The good thing about this is the fabric is going to hide all of the mess, and it will be absolutely fine because this big mess is going to be closed in our tag. Right, I decided to go for a zigzag stitch down there because it would cover up that entire section. Obviously I've got a little bit of an issue with my holes down here, so washi to the rescue. I'm going to put a little bead of glue down here. I'm not even going to worry too much about whether this goes because it's under my tag anyway. It's a floral, it's a Tim Holtz, so that is my rescue, and I don't think that looks too bad. I think that's acceptable for a mistake that we have put right, so that's fine. I'm just going to trim that, and that's now our tag on our tag. We're only counting the base tags for the challenge, so 5 tags are 5 bases. If you add extra tags, that's not included. That's okay. Right, so that's all I'm going to do today. We have a little flip tag here and a flip pocket there. So that was my plan for those 2 plainer pages. Again, another day where things haven't quite gone to plan, but that's it. We're done for today. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.